Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Inside Roboco, a series that's all about our robotics sandbox game, Roboco. Joining me today are 3D artists Flora and Megan for an inside look at the art of Roboco.
Roboco has a friendly and welcoming visual style that reflects the gameplay experience. To communicate this tone, we use simplified and rounded shape language and pastel colors, which make the environment an inviting place.
Whenever I'm starting out creating an asset for Roboco, I usually, like Flora mentioned earlier, I go through those steps in our art guides and look at kind of the style established to match it. I also work with the designers to figure out what exactly we need to portray, either something we need for the level to interact with, to solve a certain puzzle, or if it's just something to like bring the world to life. I usually get that information first. I then have a lot of fun going into a 3D modeling application, modeling the asset, then texturing it, and then bringing it into Engine where it really comes to life, and I get to rig it and test it and everything. And that's always a fun experience because sometimes, weird things happen and you have to like tweak it and get it just right. I had a lot of fun just testing chairs once and trying to get them right, and I had to design a robot that would just repeatedly break chairs. So it's a lot of fun to work on Roboco because you really get to like see these little assets that you make on a screen come to life and see what people do with them and how they can use them to solve puzzles.
Our 3D team tries to really make the game props as interesting as possible to encourage the players to explore the environment and find secrets that surprise them. Roboco props can be interacted like in real life. For instance, on office chairs with wheels that can be pushed around, glasswares can be damaged, fridge with handles can be opened up, and much more. We really try our best to entertain our players.
So I really like having fun like set dressing the world and like giving like a little bit of a narrative to like some of the environment, in particular in the coffee environment. You'll notice when you have to cut through a lot of the art props and you have to not break them, there's actually a secret supply somewhere that they have to replace, every time you break, so like it's not that big of a deal.
Talking about the secrets, I heard a rumor that there's a mouse family lives somewhere in Roboco warehouse. Some of the Roboco workers complain that their cheeses are missing from their lunch.
One of the really fun things I enjoy about Roboco is just the amount of interactability with a lot of the assets and like all the things you can do and like the breakable objects, and also how like the characters in the game react to those things. So often while I'm playtesting my assets, it's kind of funny to see like I'll break something to make sure it works, and then I just have a bunch of humans like chasing me throughout the entire factory, and that's always been kind of like a fun, like this living world that we've created and all like that. So it's a blast.
The fun thing of being one of the Roboco development team is that we get to decide where we put our humor into the game we're making. We have, like the Roboco sandwich everywhere. When you explore around, you might see them somewhere, even in some openable crates. And we have those in for no reason, just because we love to. And we secretly stick in some development team members into our Roboco human staff employees. Of course, we take inspirations from real-life robots when we're making art. We do usually gather a lot of references, images online, and we're heavily inspired by some pop culture and sci-fi movies.
I love to like hide things everywhere, and I got a lot of inspiration from, I remember playing like Portal for the first time and having all those little hints of like in the environment of like, oh, there's something going on behind the scenes, that was like a big inspiration. And yeah, there's a lot of fun little pop culture references scattered all throughout Roboco that you guys should totally look for and try and figure out.
most proud game assets I've made for Roboco are the vegetation sets. Since we talk about the visual style we are looking for, we want to make our vegetations like chubby, simplified styles. So I've dig into like different experiments with those like different styles. I tried on very simplified style and more complicated styles, and we talk with the entire team about this, and we got feedback, and we finally decided to go with our current style where we use cards to create like details, but overall the shape itself look rounded and simplified. I think it really fits into the Roboco style, so I'm pretty proud of it.
There's so many like fun assets in Roboco that I've worked on and just that are in there in general from other 3D artists that it's so charming. But I love, like, again, like I've mentioned before, like the interactive element to it. So hiding little things in those interactive elements. I know that in the server rooms, you can pull out some of the server trays, and at the back I have like giant plugs because I thought that would be ridiculous or something. And it's just kind of fun, like the little goofy things that add kind of that charm to Roboco and the quirkiness that I can't pick just one,
And that's a wrap for this episode of Inside Roboco. Join us next time for even more behind-the-scenes content brought to you by our team. In the meantime, visit our website to learn more, and don't forget to add Roboco to your Steam wishlist. See you all later!